Hi, my name is Mica Hendricks, and I am an artist. I am an illustrator and a graphic artist, and my husband and I have been married for years and years, and he's always known me to spend hours and hours uninterrupted on end, just drawing and painting. For me, the life of an artist is a very internal one, very self-focused. Any free time that I had was always spent doodling to myself in a little sketchbook that I carried with me at all times. And it was always about my thoughts and my feelings and my ideas. And then we had a baby. Hi, my name is Mica Hendricks, and I'm a mom. For me, the life of a mother is a very outwardly focused one. Your entire life is revolved around this tiny little person that needs you there every minute of every second of every day. And it's very strange going from this artistic, self-focused life, having all this free time to create, to suddenly using every ounce of energy you have to completely care for this other little person. That artistic self-focused side, it doesn't go away right away, it just no longer has an outlet. So as a new mom, I still wanted to create, I just didn't have any time or energy to do it. So when I wanted to stay up really late at night and draw, I stayed up way too late, and I doodled during that precious nap time when they tell you to catch up on your sleep. And I learned to appreciate little increments of space to create in as opposed to the hours and hours that I used to have. And I was tired a lot, but I think especially so because I was trying to burn the candle at both ends, trying to exist in two separate ways, as an artist and as a mom. Well, as she got older, we did all the typical arts and crafts with our daughter. We did finger painting and paper cutting and Play-Doh. But I thought of my own art as something separate, and I kept it to myself in the wee hours of the night after she went to bed. And it wasn't until she was 3 that she started even showing any interest in art, but when she did it with a passion, something I could relate to, something that was familiar to me. And I just loved watching her little brain work drawing in her sketchbook. But I still thought of it as something separate from what I did, and I kept my own art to my own self at my own time until she was 4. One day, while she was happily engrossed in her own marker drawings, I thought, maybe I'll be able to get a little drawing in the daytime done for once, something I hadn't tried since she was born. And while she happily drew on her own, I quietly drew on my own, hoping to go unnoticed. And it was working, and I was feeling pretty proud of myself for getting some drawing done in the daytime for once, until she glanced over at me, instantly curious, and she swooped in on me like a hawk. She said, "Oh, Mama, is that a new sketchbook?" And I said, yes, it is, honey, because apparently I've taught this kid to recognize good art supplies. So she said, "What are you drawing in your sketchbook?" I said, "I'm just drawing a head, a little face or something." And she said, "Oh, can I draw the body?" In my new sketchbook, honey? Well, honey, this is Mama's sketchbook, and you've got your own sketchbook on your own, on your own way over there with your markers way over there. But then she looked at me right in the eyes, and she used my own mommy words on me. She said, "Mama, you have to share. If you don't share, we might have to take it away." I think she's probably heard that line a time or two before. Well, I was actually kind of impressed that the lessons on sharing that my husband and I had tried so hard to instill in her had actually sunken in for a minute. And as much as I didn't want to share my new sketchbook, I decided to go ahead and share it and show her that even grown-ups have to share every once in a while. I thought, well, I'll just chalk it up to a ruined page and put it away till after bedtime like I should have done in the first place. And part of me thought, well, this will be good for her, I guess. I want to show her that her creative ideas are just as good as mine and just as valid as anyone else's. But I didn't realize how good it would be for me. And then she drew a dinosaur body on my lady's head. Well, she was so careful and meticulous with it, she wasn't worried about what I would think. It wasn't any kind of dramatic moment for her. It was very matter of fact. "You need a body? I'll draw one for you." Didn't say what kind. She wasn't nervous about what I was going to say. She wasn't curious about what I was going to, worried about my criticism. She drew simply and confidently just for the joy of drawing. Well, I was so fascinated by it that I flipped through my sketchbook looking for more heads for her to draw, because that's pretty much my favorite part to draw anyway, and usually only about as far as I get. I started elaborating on them hesitantly at first, and then a little bit more so, trying to make the strange little doodles make sense to grown-up language with color and highlighting and shading. They were just so fascinating to me that I just kept playing around with them and trying to add more to them and trying to just have fun with them, just to play with them. And she and I had so much fun doing these together. Well, pretty soon she started asking me for heads to draw. She'd wake up and say, "Mama, do you have any heads for me today?" And I'd say, "Okay." So I'd draw them late at night. Wait till the next morning. She'd draw all over the heads, and she mainly, sometimes when presented with a head, she'd draw thick, bold scribble lines across the face, and I'd say, "Oh my gosh, what are you doing? You're messing it up." And she'd say, "It's a tiger." And she was right. And other times, she would take a big orange magic marker and scribble all over her face. And I'd say, "Oh my gosh, what is she doing? She's messing it up." And she'd say, "It's a caterpillar in a chrysalis." And she was right. Another time, she took a lady before I even had a chance to finish it and drew a little tail on her and stuck little people in her hair. And I thought, "Oh, okay, I don't even know I don't even know how to make sense of that, right? What is that?" And she said, "It's a platypus with people hair clips." And I said, "Okay, somehow it works, right?" It definitely takes some getting used to. Sometimes my own expectations would slip in, and as I'd be drawing heads for her, I'd be thinking of all the fun little crazy things she could turn them into, but she always went in a different direction than anything I could have imagined, and it always turned out better than anything I could have suggested to her. And I slowly started realizing that if I let go and stop telling myself what it's supposed to be and just enjoy what it is, that fun things can happen. And I also started realizing that as hard as I'd been trying to keep my artistic life to myself, that it might actually be possible to make her a part of it and to share with her the things that I love. So I have this little website called Busy Mockingbird that I started just sort of to create, just share little projects that I always have going on, and I just did it out of my house. I mean, hopefully encourage creativity in other people. I did this little post about the collaborations, and when I wanted to write about them, I really took my time with it because it was very special to me, and I wanted to get it just right. It's so intimidating putting something that you care so much about out into the world for other people to see, even if only for a few people. I only had 50 people, about family and friends mostly. But even then, I had no idea what was about to happen. Our little blog was shared by family and friends on social media. A friend of mine suggested that I share it to a couple small blogs that I read. And I did, and they liked it, and they shared it, and that's pretty much all that I did. Pretty soon, bigger websites like Colossal and Mighty Girl and Epbot picked it up, and then the post went viral. I was interviewed by Good Morning America, Yahoo Shine, Babel Disney, NBC Today, The Huffington Post, Fast Company, BuzzFeed, and The Ellen DeGeneres Show online. Our little story was in print magazines in Singapore and Australia in languages like German, Italian, Swedish, and Chinese. We were in December's Red Book in Mary Claire in the Netherlands. I got hundreds of emails from all over the world in several different countries in several different languages. The blog comments, Facebook posts, and Twitter were on fire, and then just as it started to die down, a well-known actor published it to his page, and it started all over again. It has definitely been a strange experience. But inspired by all the feedback that we got, I decided to run a little contest on the blog where I drew a head, and I encouraged people to create something with it, anything. My only requirement was that they had to collaborate on it with someone else, anyone else. Well, people were so excited to sit down with family and friends and churches and students and patients. I got hundreds and hundreds of responses. It was amazing. People spent time with family and friends that they hadn't spent in years, and then they shared their stories with me. They felt part of something. They felt closer, and I think that it was a very positive experience for all of them, and it was a very positive thing for me to know that something that we just did within our own little family was having such a positive effect on so many other people. I've had people joke around and say, "I wish you were my mom," or I wish we were your kids or something, but parenthood didn't always come second nature to me. I'm not the type of person that spent my whole life imagining what it would be like to have kids running around. It's just not something I ever thought about. But when I decide to do something, I go all in. And I think that not having those preconceived ideas about what parenthood is supposed to be has actually given me a little bit of a different perspective on it. I've always kind of thought of our daughter as a little foreign exchange student. I mean, it's got to be hard as a kid, right? You not only have to learn the basic motor functions and how to use your body and speak the language, but you have to learn all the little subtle nuances of language as well. She may not always know the proper words of adulthood or how to say something the right way, but to me, that doesn't make her thoughts or feelings any less important. And while I'd love to win the award for Mother of the Year, I don't think I'm really doing anything all that special. All I'm really doing is spending time with her and respecting her ideas. I think kids just really want to be a part of the thing that you love. They want you to share it with them. And it doesn't have to be in art. It can be in whatever you're interested in. Theater, dance, music, pottery, whatever it is that makes your heart sing, share it with them. Kids learn the most, I think, by watching you. I think I've learned a lot from collaborating with our daughter. I've learned that the things that I think should happen a certain way aren't always what need to happen. And I've learned sometimes that if I let go of our own expectations a little bit and loosen up, that's where the magic is. And for a while I get to see things without the fear of influence or politics or criticism, just the way she does, curious and playful and fun. And because I'm a grown-up, I have to keep relearning these things over and over again, but I get to do that each and every time I draw with our daughter. I think kids learn the most by watching you, so be a good example for them, but not by being rigid and structured and being perfect, but by sharing yourself with them. Explore, make mistakes, create a little bit, and tell them when you make mistakes and help them when they make their mistakes. Follow your kid's lead every once in a while without defining it so rigidly for her, and never hold anything so close to you that no one else can touch it. As her mom, I realized that maybe her drawings aren't the most masterful on earth, and maybe I'm a little biased and she's not a child prodigy, but for that matter, neither are mine. I mean, I could watch her draw for hours. I'm her mom. But anyone focusing on that part of the story, I think, is sort of missing the point. So what is the point? Well, for me, it's about sharing your passion with somebody else. It's about spending real time with someone and enjoying the whole experience of it way more than the end result. And most importantly, it's about taking the thing that you love the most and putting it in someone else's hand and trusting that no matter what happens, everything is going to be okay. Thank you.